like before pandemic, so everyone, do you understand they can travel to manufacture in China or in Asian, right? To talk to them, uh, the product they have, and then to develop the product at the same time. So, but right now, most of my customers, they can't travel to our manufacturer. So what can they do? The best time for now is to understanding the whole product developing stage, okay? Without understand this kind of concept, I think the startup will be feeling a little bit easier, okay, without following those kind of right process. So, so many kind of, I have been working with so many startups, and then they always have an issue later on. So few reasons why. So at beginning, they have a very great idea, right? And then they want to turn the idea to the product right away. But the thing is, it does not work like that way always. Because when you have a great idea, you usually need to do another kind of research, like research competition to know who is your competitor, right? And then this is very important. If you don't know who is your kind of competitor, you don't know who you compete to, right? You have no way to set out your target kind of price. And if you don't have a target price, that means, give me 1 second. That means you can't stand the kind of your manufacturing cost at that time, at that point, right? So after that, you still also need to confirm and validate if the market exists for your product, is if there's anyone buy your product, right? So you have to kind of validate your idea before you just walk into manufacturers, and then or you can start developing your products. Otherwise, you will be wasting your time to do so. So I always kind of recommend my startup companies, especially for those kind of inventors. They came to me. They say, "Hey, Jacky, I have ideas." So I share and hey, can you make some flyers to share with your customers, like potential customers, or those kind of retailers, and asking for the feedback if they can, and then therefore you will get kind of ideas if this product work, right? If you're getting good feedbacks, right, you can set an online pre-sales, right? So this is another kind of way to to do testing if your product works in the market, right? And the most popular way right now is start doing crowdfunding in Kickstarter and Indiegogo, those kind of platform, right? So the last one is when you have an idea. So most people, they were kind of scared about if someone going to steal my idea, right? And in the meantime, since this is just idea, so many people does not, they just don't want to spend money on finding the patent at the beginning because it's another capital at beginning. So I always recommend them to look into the PPA, which which software is a provision patent application. So it only costs a few $100s, but it was secure for 1 year to make sure your idea and it's going to be patented. Okay, so this is the number one idea. The next one, after idea, most time it's going to the concept generation. So at this step, right, usually people will need to think how to make a product with simple way, not complicate. Because to my experience, every time when startups come to talk to me, or inventor they come to talk to me, they want all the features. They want this, that at one time. It's impossible. When I say impossible, it doesn't mean it's impossible to make it, because when I say impossible, it's hard to make it work at short periods of time. Okay, so what I recommend always is simplify product to lower the development time and the cost. Okay, the more kind of features you have, the more developing time going to involved. So going to be also the cost for the kind of engineering time, it's going to be increased, right? So at this stage, so when you were working on a concept, so you can, if you were not engineering background, or so usually you will need to find some kind of outside engineering firm or kind of freelancers to help you, because there's so many kind of technical knowledge involved in this step, not only electrical, mechanical, also include all the kind of softwares. So it really depends on what type of project you're working on. Okay, so the next one, my opinion after that is going to prove the concept. So usually at this stage, right, I don't recommend my inventors or startups to spend too much money at beginning. So there's no custom electronic design needed at this stage. Okay, you don't really need a super kind of complicated or spend too much money to buy the kind of to build a working prototype. So at this stage, you just need to use the off-shelf kind of components. If you can find it, just use it, and then using Arduino or Raspberry Pi, okay, to make your concept work and to prove it. Don't spend too much time and too much money at this stage. And then after you prove your concept, so this is the real game started, as I call it. So usually our customer came to us for this stage. Okay, regardless inventor or startups, I usually working with them on this stage. Number reason why is because design iteration is the longest and hardest part of the process. So this one will include an electrical engineer, industrial design, mechanical design, software, firmware, or applications for iOS and Android device, right? So if people does not handle this part right, the product can fail easily. So number one reason why is because on this stage, you will need to develop an electronic side, right? System block diagram, and also need to select the production components. So after that, so you will need to hire electrical engineer to do the schematics and circuit board layout, circuit board drawing, right? And then design a PCB, and also need to kind of generate a final BOM, which is built of materials. And in the meantime, so the electrical engineer will work with industrial designer and mechanical engineer to develop the housing, which is we call enclosure, right? And then you will have a 3D CAD file ready for making prototype to kind of to evaluate your concept. And after you have a kind of printed circuit board made and housing made, so you can assemble it together, and then you have a one real product now you can play with, and then you can have another stage to prove your concept. And then you will do another kind of testing and document all the kind of informations or mistake you be made. Okay. At this stage, I usually encourage our customers to not spend too much time to kind of tune the design, because design will never get perfect at this stage. But the bottom line is, at this stage, you got to have a device is suitable. When I say suitable, it's meeting all your kind of specs, the quality, everything functional. It got to. Okay, and then so after you have a BOM and you have a kind of design file already, so you need to do the vendor selection at this stage, which is most important. And this time you will have a quote for the BOM and then for the parts from the vendor. And then also you will get the lead time. Okay, so why this is more important? Because when you design the product, and then you don't want to having a situation, when I say bad situation, is you can manufacture because the parts lead time is over 6 months or 7 months or a year, right? So if you have those kind of issues, right, you still need to work on a bill of materials and to change your BOM and to kind of lower your lead time for the parts, right? Or you can ask manufacturers to helping you to get a AVL parts, alternative parts at this time, right? So I really encourage our startups working close with us at this stage, not only because we can help them to save the cost at the very beginning, but we can start doing kind of design for manufacturing early at a stage. So to helping them to find more kind of issues at the very beginning, rather than later after they have design ready and they came to us, we found so many issues, which is the next kind of page I'm going to discuss about.